Hey, what is up, guys? Martin here. Welcome to a new episode of your favorite podcast. And guys, in today's episode, I am going to give you one trick that can multiply your productivity and your results by 5. Okay? Just one thing. And every time I have applied this, and I strive to apply it in my life every single day, I have seen my results skyrocket. Okay. So what is this concept here is the difference between input and output. Okay. That might seem like a very trivial question or concept, but that concept can make or break you. Okay. So what do I mean, first of all, by input and output? Okay. So by input, I mean you receiving information, right? From a training course, from a mentor, from, I don't know, from a YouTube video or something. And then output is the work that you actually go out and produce, okay? Now, here's the thing. If you don't have the right ratio, and I'm going to get to what I think a good ratio is, then your result might suffer. And the difference is like night and day, okay? So with the right ratio, you can have results that will go here where someone will be down there, right under this table, okay? And so here's the thing. I mean, basically, every time my output ratio has been higher than my input, then things started moving for me, okay? And the actual ratio that you want and that I think you should go for, I mean, based on what I have seen is you want a ratio of at least 80% output. So just apply the 80-20 rule. So if you guys don't know the 80-20 rule, it's called the Pareto principle from an Italian economist. It basically says that 80% of your results are going to come from 20% of your actions. 80% of the time. So let's say you spend 80% of your time with 20% of your friends. And this is something that applies in pretty much everything. So it's not exactly 80-20, right? You just need to understand the concept. And this concept also applies in this context of input output. Okay. If you apply the Pareto principle, you want to have at least 80% output and then 20% input. So I will say, there are periods where, my input-output ratio was actually the opposite. I was getting 20% action, 80% getting information and stuff like that, and nothing was moving. So there is a good chance that right now, this is your case. You're just learning, and then nothing seems to be moving. It's just because of this mindset shift is going to change everything. So today, I will say that right now, my output, if I were to gauge, is 90%. I'm at 90% output, 10% input. Okay. Now, you might be like, so why you want input in the first place if it's just slowing you down and stuff? Well, you want input so that you are always aware of where the market is going, what are the new things that are affecting the market, what are the new tools and stuff like that, okay? So you don't want to be a dinosaur who's still sending facts, okay? Right? So there is something called the internet now, and if there was someone who had zero input, that this is what will happen, okay? So you still want some input in your life, right? But here's the benefits of focusing on output. And this is a very, very simple concept, okay? Everything I tell you is not something that requires rocket science. It's just sound advice based on my experience and stuff that you can apply right now, and that probably will make sense for you. And you can verify it yourself in your life. Think about the times when you've been more productive. So, for example, let's say you tried to lose weight before, okay? And there was a time where you were reading every publication about, should you eat veggies, should you eat blah, 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 etc. And then what happened? Well, it's when you actually started doing the stuff that, the results came. Okay. So the output is the action, is something that will actually go out and move the needle. Okay. And so here's the benefits. The benefits is this, is the field. What happens on the field is always going to give you better, faster, more accurate data and feedback than you sitting at a desk and planning and, or getting information about, oh yeah, you should be doing this, you should be doing that, etc. Again, we've established there's nothing wrong with getting input data, because it helps you level up as well. So you're not stuck in the past. Okay. But I don't remember the exact quote, but it's something, the best plan is kind of like useless against like the action on the battlefield or something. Don't quote me. It's really not the quote in question, but that's what happens. You can plan all you want, okay? And you can get all the information, but the field is going to give you that information faster. And that allows you to make, I'll say, better decisions. Okay, you make better decisions because these are decisions that are backed up by data. Okay, data of I did this. This is what happened. So then I tried this. This is what happened. So between those two options, this is what I need to go for. Right. Whereas with input, and we're going to see that later, you don't necessarily have this. You have, I'll say, a best case scenario that always happens, which yeah. In actual life, it doesn't work this way, okay? And the output also allows you to like iterate and you make better decisions that are concrete decisions based on what is actually happening. And this is why you see so much momentum, okay? When you're getting started, and when I was getting started, it was the same thing. It was a lot of inputs, right? At the beginning, there's a lot of input. There are a bunch of things that you need to integrate. But here's the thing. What I think is this is, in the beginning, we make the mistake of just thinking that, well, I'm at the beginning, I need to get all this information before I get started. And then that's why a lot of people never actually start, never actually do anything, okay? So if you are at the beginning, this concept is crucial for you as well. There is a book, I think it's How to Stop Worrying, something by Dale Carnegie. Fantastic book. I love this book. I think it's in this one. And he was basically saying this. He was saying, look, there is a certain moment, a certain amount of info that you need to have to kind of like confidently go out and test, okay? Let's imagine this is the level. Any more information will be detrimental to you. What does that mean? It means that you don't want to go blind in a venture or something like, oh, let me go cowboy style and I go guns blazing and I try something. I have no idea what I'm doing. Okay. You don't want to do that. You want to research that to a certain point where you're like, okay, I do understand the basics of this stuff. So I can confidently go in there. I don't look like an idiot. And then now I'm actually going to formulate an hypothesis and I'm going to go and test that hypothesis. Okay. I don't need to spend any more time in the lab and stuff, because now any more time that you will spend is actually going to start confusing you and delaying you and everything. Okay. And that is the same kind of like the same concept here. Just apply this concept to your input output. Okay. You can apply this concept to anything. You can apply this concept to, let's say, I don't know if it happened to you. It may have happened to me many times. You're in dating, right? So let's say there's this person that you really like the person, and there's a point where it's time to go and just ask them out. All right. And instead of doing that, then you start, trying to get, more information, more this, more that, blah, blah, blah. And guess what? At the end of the day, if you had gone at that time, then, the outcome would have been positive, but you waited too long, got confused, and then you don't know if you should do it. You never asked the person out, and then that's it. That happened to me many times. Okay. Anyway, again, there are benefits to input. Again, as I said, you get the most recent and updated information and stuff. But the dangers of staying in input mode, it's actually very dangerous. Okay, so you will be the person who only knows the theory of stuff. Okay? Yeah, I know how that works. So how many people do you know who they've never tried something, but they will tell you everything about it? Oh, yeah, well, for YouTube, for example, a lot of people tell you, yeah, on YouTube, you need to do this, you need to do that and stuff. And, studies shows that if you do this, blah, 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 they've never tried it. Okay? And people don't like that stuff anyway. I'm like, dude, like, really? You've never tried it yourself. So you don't be that person who only knows the theory. Okay? Now, it's not just what other people are going to think. Only knowing the theory is the theory is usually based on the best case scenario. There are rainbows and unicorns and everybody's happy and everything works. There's no problem. There's no nothing. And what happens is if you get stuck in there and there's no action from you, then you don't know how to adapt in case of a problem. You don't know what problem will arise. You have absolutely no idea how to handle that problem and how to handle your emotions. Whereas if you have been doing output, trust me, life is going to hit you in the face, okay? And you're going to find clever ways of, fixing this problem, but you develop a thicker skin as well, because then you will realize that your job as an entrepreneur is to actually go out and fix problems. That's what you do all day. I have problems every single day. Dude, I cannot tell you how many problems I fixed in my life, okay? And that is, the output will give you that strength, that fortitude, and those reflexes that will then allow you to solve any problem whatsoever. And this is where you start making the success. And people are looking for problem solvers, right? And people who just do theory, usually they're not good at solving the problem because they've never actually seen the problem. Okay. Now, what I was saying as well is the concept that I was explaining is, if you're in input mode all the time, you will reach a point where you'll have something called analysis paralysis, right? So let's say you're like, okay, you want to lose weight, and you read something that says, "Oh, you should go do paleo," and then you're like, "Oh my God, this is fantastic!" And then afterwards, you start getting more information, then you realize that the keto diet is actually the one that seems to work, and you're like, "Oh my God, so which one's working?" And then you see that the carnivores are telling you, yeah, but if you do this, and then now you are confused, okay? Because there's too much information that came in. And so that is killing more dreams and more great inventions and great success stories than a lot of things. Analysis paralysis, okay? And yeah, it's one of those things. So what can you do? So because you might have this problem, you're like, okay, I have trouble organizing my work. How can I fix this? So something that you can do very quickly is when you organize your calendar, okay? There are many ways of organizing a calendar, but have a simple rule. Very simple rule will make it easy for you. Is the first thing you're going to block in there, you're going to put blocks and you're going to decide on the color, and you put blocks of output, okay? And you need to have, you look at the calendar, you need to have that color, let's say it's green, and that green needs to be at least 80% of that calendar of yours, okay? At least 80%, all right? And then only when you've done that, then you can go and start scheduling your meeting. So what I will do is this. I will do my output first. I will do my research and my input, okay? I will pick a different color, and I will go and I will block those slots, and I will do my research, okay? And I will make sure to do it. And only then, after I've done these two things, I will have another color for like meetings. Me, I don't like meetings. I don't have meetings in my company and stuff. And I mean, or maybe, no, I'm saying this, I'm not good at planning meetings and getting the best out of meetings. So that's something that I need to get better at. But very often with a lot of people, those meetings are a waste of time where nothing happens, all right? If you're a pro and you know how to conduct meetings with minutes and an agenda and blah, 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 etc., good for you. This is how you need to do it. But in my experience, for me, the meetings are not very productive. So I will put them last, okay? So that is pretty much it, guys, for this episode. Hopefully it helped you. And I will see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.